Okay, a bouncy flow today. I would recommend grabbing blocks or having a chair near you just so you can really focus on the movements, but wobbling is going to be great as well. So just have fun and go with it. So we're going to start off lying down, so come down to your mat. Feet out wide, all the way down, hands up. Closing down the eyes. Feeling the breath rising and falling. Feel really soft, sinking into the ground. Feeling that belly rise and fall. Already here, start to get that feeling of strength, of balance. Feeling almost light and lifted whenever we're in a standing balancing pose. Almost like that balancing leg is just there to keep you upright rather than gripping into the ground to try and make sure that you're not going to fall over. That energy pulling through the crown of the head. Really visualize yourself in a balancing posture, whether it's tree, warrior three, anything that is going to make you wobble a bit. And visualize yourself here right now, standing tall, unfazed, really strong. The only thing moving is your breath, your belly rising and falling. Big inhale, exhale, sigh everything out. Take the feet together, hands together, big stretch, fingers and toes as far away from one another. Slowly bend up your knees, take the arms out wide. Take the feet off of the ground. You can open up your eyes or keep them closed. Have your knees just above your hips. And we're going to already start to take this balance. So we're going to start to take the knees over to the right, but we're not going to let them touch the ground. So go as far as you can by keeping that left shoulder still on the ground, knees off the ground. Inhale, really use that core to drive the knees back up to the ceiling and all the way over to the left, again keeping that right shoulder onto the ground. Inhale, use that core to drive the knees back up, over to the right, slowly warming ourselves up. Inhale, all the way back up, over to the left, and up. Feeling how much that core has an influence here on our movement. And remembering to utilize that throughout our practice. Keep going, you can pick up the pace if you feel like you're starting to warm up nicely. Take one more round and then come back to your mat. Feet placed onto your mat, hands by your side, palms facing down. Coming into our bridge to warm up our glutes, because our glutes are also equally important in our balancing. So just make sure you can just about touch your heels, feet placed, hips width distance apart, toes facing forward, knees facing up, making sure to activate the inner thigh so the knees don't fall outwards. Next, inhale, pull the hip bones towards your face, tucking that pelvis under so much that it starts to lift up. ground through all four corners of the feet. Really activating the glutes here. Give them a poke just to make sure they are fired up. Make sure you're drawing those thighs towards one another. Exhale all the way down. And again, tuck that pelvis, lift it off of the ground. If you want to, start to come to your one leg bridge. Start to play around with your balance, firing up through one glute. Take an alternate on both legs, trying to remain as still as possible each time you change those legs. All the way down, one more time, big inhale, come all the way up. Maybe this time you take one leg up and take some pulses here with your bridge. Really driving that energy through that glute. Switching over to the other side. Feeling how much that glute is working to keep us lifted, keep us balanced. Foot all the way down, come down. Coming into the fun now, so we're going to start to rock and roll up and down the mat. Now assess whether this is okay for you to start with. So take your knees, hug them into your chest. Really slowly start to rock and roll up and down, growing that momentum. Is this okay for your spine? If not, just take a time out. If this is okay, what we're going to be coming into is some pistol squats. So you're going to be coming all the way up, balancing on one foot. Coming all the way back down, rolling up, balancing on the other foot. Trying to lift that bottom off of the ground, alternating the feet. Maybe one side is easier than the other. Trying to get as much air time as possible before you roll back. Keep going, we'll do a few more. You're going to do one more, and this time you're going to come all the way up onto both feet, so really get that momentum. Toes together, heels apart. Roll all the way over. Now onto your knees, and your toes are tucked. So toes are tucked, and you're starting to take the weight back so your bum is on your heels. Just make sure you're completely spreading the toes, because sometimes, especially for me and especially with the footwear that we wear now, our toes start to come inwards. So just make sure they're fully spread underneath us. Maybe pull out the fatty bits of our bum so you're completely sat down on those heels. And just stay here, just allowing the feet to warm up. Breathing here. Maybe not an area that we tend to focus on, but with our balance we need all four corners of the feet grounding into the mat. We need to feel our toes spread nice and widely, wobbling from the big toe to the little toe. Breathing here in our plantar stretch. 3 more big breaths. Final breath. Slowly come forward, untuck those toes, give them a bit of a bash on the ground just to get that blood flowing again, wiggling those toes. Taking those feet all the way down now, untucked, coming into an ankle stretch, the front of our foot stretch. Again, ankles are so important for our balance. So make sure, this is for me because I tend to roll my feet inwards like a pigeon toe. Just make sure that you pull that fatty part of your bum away so that your heels are directly back, they're not falling out to the sides. And go super slowly with this one because this is a really unusual stretch. Take your hands down. If you've got blocks, you can place your hands onto the blocks And we're going to start to take this weight back and start to lift our knees up. You might already start to feel a stretch down the front of those ankles. If you've got quite flexible ankles, you can always take the hands off of the ground, take the knees higher up, and you can come back out of it whenever you need to, and then come back in. Going really slowly, making sure that those heels are still directly back, they're not starting to roll out to the side. Warming through all areas of our feet and our ankles. Hold it here for one more breath or come back into it for one more round. Really slowly walk all the way forward. Again, just rotating through those ankles. Wiggling those toes. Coming into your all fours, so continuing with this balance. Now, if you feel already warmed up, by all means tuck your toes and hover your knees here. You're going to really need to push the mat away, almost rounding those shoulders so you're separating the shoulder blades and making sure that core is engaged. Coming into our extended arm, extended leg, so opposite arm and leg. Taking the left hand forward, right hand back, right leg back. Keeping this core engaged, keep pushing the mat away. Drawing that knee and elbow towards one another, rounding through the back. Big stretch, extend. And round, exhale. Inhale, extend. Make sure that extended leg is, the hip is square so the toes are facing down. Keep going through this. Keep that wobble to the minimum if you can. Finally extend here. Now we're going to reach back. So reach the hand all the way up. Bend up that foot. Touch the foot and the hand and extend. Reach all the way back. And extend. All the way back, trying to keep the least amount of wobble. If you're on that hovering knee, amazing. One more time, reach back. And extend. This time you're putting that extended leg all the way down to the ground, both hands to the ground, tucking that left foot, starting to walk the hands back. So we're straightening up through the left leg, coming into our pyramid. So our right foot is slightly diagonal to the front. Our left foot is straight forward. We're thinking about this back leg internally rotating. And the front leg, the left leg, that hip is pulling back. Stretching over that front leg, making sure our knees are both pulling up so our thighs are working. Absolutely bend through that front leg if you need, and take that stance a little bit wider if you need to as well. Keeping this back nice and straight, so leading with your chest rather than your shoulders. Make sure both legs are doing as much work as the other. Final inhale, lengthen. Exhale, see if you can fold ever so slightly more. And then take it on the other side, walk the hands forward, step this right foot forward. Turning the left toes out to the side, right toes straight forward. Internally rotating that back leg, so towards your body. And pulling this right hip back, trying to get those hips in line. It might help if you put your hand on your hip, so just on your tailbone, to make sure they're in line. Inhale, think about lengthening. Exhale, fold over that leg. Keeping that chest nice and open. Make sure you're pulling those knees up. Final inhale. Exhale, plant the hands down, step back to your all fours, taking the extended leg and extended arm on the other side, whether you're going to be hovering that knee or knee is planted down, make sure that you're planting that hand into the mat, tiger curl, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw them together. Make sure that back isn't bowing. Driving that energy through the core. One more. Up and over, reaching back. Make sure that glute is firing. One more. Good job. Hands down. Tuck the toes. Coming into balancing on our tippy toes now. So start to take the weight back. Start to take the knees off of the ground. Hands into your heart center. Balancing here. This is where we want to feel that energy driving through the crown of the head. Keeping that core engaged, keeping us nice and upright. Feeling those toes wobbling. Working all of those muscles in our feet. Super slowly, whether you want your hands still at heart center or up. Biceps by the ears, we're coming into chair pose but on our toes. So drive through your toes, make sure that big toe is driving through, you're not rolling to the outside. Chair pose, heels off. Make sure all of those conditions of the chair pose are still in play, even though we're on our toes. Tippy toes as much as possible. Final big inhale. Exhale, heels down. Hold it here, pulling that pelvis under. Big inhale. Exhale, final breath in. Exhale, come all the way up to standing. Good job. Okay, coming to the middle-ish part of the mat. This is where the fun starts, if you didn't already think it started. So grab blocks, chair, by a wall, wherever you need to. Okay, you've got a couple of options here. Whether when we go down, I'll quickly explain, when we go down, you'll be coming all the way down like so. And either you get up from here, or if you just want to have a little bit of fun, you can continue spinning all the way around until you come onto the other side. So do what you want to do, but we'll be doing both sides anyway at some point. Okay. Hands up, stalk pose, left leg up to start with. Firing through this right glute, make sure you're not dumping into that glute, it's pulling all the way in. Now whether you want your hands up or you want your hands at heart center, doesn't matter. Take that knee out to the side, make sure those hips are still square. Take that knee all the way back, foot is pointing up, hips are still square. That knee, that left knee, you're coming all the way down into a curtsy squat. Keeping that foot off as much as you can off of the ground until you come all the way to seated in this seated twist. Keep your hands up or by your chest. This is the point where you can spin around and take it on the other side, or push all the way back up. All the way back up through that reverse, so leg up to the side. Into stalk, down. Good job. Taking it on the other side. Hands up, right leg up. Knee to the side, keep that left glute firing. Knee all the way around, try to keep that knee as high as possible. Start to bend through that standing leg. Coming all the way down, keeping that right foot off for as long as possible. Until you sit down, spinning all the way around or coming all the way back up in reverse. Good job. Other side, we're doing this 3 times by the way. Stalk pose, out to the side, all the way around to the back, curtsy squat, as long as you can until that foot comes down. Push all the way back up in reverse. Working through a range of motion with our hips as well. Back to standing. Other side. Knee up. Out to the side. All the way around, keeping that knee high. Curtsy squat. Keeping that foot off for as long as possible, all the way down. And up. In reverse, leg back. Round to the side. And stop. Good job. Okay, one more time, both sides. Inhale, left leg up. Taking it in your own time, you know where we're going now. Keeping that breath nice and calm. One more time, last time this side. And all the way up. Really good job. Hands all the way down, shake it out. Take the feet just to hips width distance apart. Big inhale, hands all the way up, gaze up. Exhale all the way down, forward fold. Let that head sway from side to side, nod back and forward, good job. Just let that tension start to fall away. Coming into another balancing almost, because we want to take the weight into our toes rather than our heels. So we're going to take our peace fingers, so that's our index finger and our thumb and our middle finger around the big toes. Feet still hips width distance apart. And you're going to fold all the way over, drawing those elbows to the side, keeping that chest flat to the thighs, hanging the head. Now try to take the weight into the toes. That's going to start to maybe take you off balance a little bit. And where you have your hands under your feet, you might start to feel like, oh my gosh, what if I fall over on my head? Keep feeling that energy driving through the elbows. This isn't passive, it's an active stretch here. So elbows to the sides, pulling those feet and hands into one another. Ever so slightly straighten through those legs if you can, driving the tailbone higher to the sky, but only if you can keep that chest onto your thighs. With every inhale, think about lengthening the crown of the head closer to the mat. And every exhale, see if you can straighten through those legs ever so slightly more, but making sure the chest is on the thighs at all times. Shoulders away from the ears so they're pulling down the back towards that tailbone. Final inhale. And exhale, slowly bend through those knees. Good job. Take the hands away. Breathing here. Big inhale, roll all the way up through standing, super slowly. Take those feet together. Big inhale, hands up, start to sink down to your chair pose, toes together, heels apart. Hands to heart center, exhale, twist, taking the left elbow towards the right thigh, using that oblique to get you there until you can't twist anymore, and then hook that elbow. Just look down quickly, are your knees still in line? There's a tendency to take that left knee in front. Driving those hands to heart center. If you can, by still looking at the side, if not, it's easier if you look down, pick up this left leg, super slowly as you can, straight back to your revolve lunge. Working that back leg as much as the front, pushing that energy through the heel. Driving the hands to heart center, chest is really nice and open. Breathing here. Inhale, think about the crown of the head reaching to the front of the mat. And on your exhale, think about the left rib cage spinning further round to the right. Inhale, we're going to pick up this back leg, the left leg. See if you can do it without looking down at the ground. All the way back up into your chair pose. Exhale, untwist. All the way back up to standing. Good job. Other side. Exhale, chair pose. Hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Using that oblique to get you there. Until you can't move anymore, and then hook that elbow. Make sure those knees are square. If you can, just by looking at the side rather than down, pick up that right foot, step it really slowly all the way back to your revolve lunge. Working that back leg, drawing those hands to heart center. Chest nice and open, shoulder blades pulling towards one another. Still breathing. Final inhale. Exhale, this time we are taking our gaze down, planting the hands down, coming down to our knees, coming into a child's pose, knees together or knees wide, you choose. Sink that forehead down. Allow those heels to feel like they're sinking down towards the ground, hips towards your heels. Feel that breath expanding through the back and sides of the ribs. Slowing down that wobble. Feeling that stillness arrive. Now we've worked all the way up to our Shavasana today, so if you do need to take any extra movements, please do. And you decide whether you want to walk forward and take your Shavasana on your front or roll over to your back. If you're on your front, pull up one leg like you're still sleeping, resting onto one cheek. Hands wherever feels comfortable. And breathe here. If you're on your belly, feel that belly pushing into the ground with every inhale. And if you're on your back, feel that back expanding, pushing down into the mat. Did that visualization at the start help with that balance? Warming up those glutes, warming up that core. Could you feel that benefit throughout the balancing, throughout the wobbling? Now, balancing poses are amazing, not just for our body, because obviously as we start to get older, we may start to feel a bit more wobbly, a bit more unstable. So it's amazing to get those best practices in now. But also our concentration, those brain training exercises, working our coordination, muscle memory. Wherever you are, start to bring some movement back into your body, wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers. Keeping the eyes closed, super slowly push all the way back up into a comfortable seated position. Hands onto the thighs, palms facing up. Do you feel energized? Because I definitely do. That level of concentration needed really gets everything firing. Hands to heart center, chin to the chest, thumbs to the third eye. Really good job sticking with that balance today. It's only beneficial to you, to your body, to your brain, so keep at it. Maybe revisit this one or a couple of the exercises we did. Thank you very much for joining, coming to the end of our session, taking the hands away from the eyes and blinking the eyes open.